You said that, and I'm really like not trying to paraphrase you or to put words into your mouth.
You are trying that directly.
No, it is things that you said that you cannot deal with those.
Yes, but don't tell me that you're not trying to put words into my mouth because you've selected what you're going to ask.
Welcome back, guys, to Manlord Reacts, and in this video I'll be reacting to an interview that's been done in 2018 by a French interviewer and Jordan Peterson. Here the interviewer tries to get that gotcha moment over Jordan Peterson. The whole interview he just kept blaming him, and he didn't got anything out of Jordan Peterson. He also failed miserably to do so. Let's start the video from now.
You think that nowadays men lack virility, that they're not men anymore?
No, I think that you could make a case that they are punished for those virtues and so are less likely to feel confident in their expression or development.
You feel that society nowadays tells men that it's not okay to be ambitious?
I think it's definitely the case that happens. It's certainly not encouraged, it's discouraged because of the confusion between, the purposeful confusion in my estimation, between power and competence.
You think the hierarchy of the patriarchal system is a good one?
Well, first of all, I'm not convinced that the theory that what we have is a patriarchal hierarchy is correct to begin with. I don't think that way because I don't understand precisely what that means. Does that mean that women had no role in shaping our society? It's only been the last 10 years that people have made the presumption that it's self-evident that what we live in is a patriarchy. What women haven't contributed? Is this the point we're making? Is that women haven't contributed to our society? They just weren't there until what, 1965, and all of a sudden they took their place. All the women before that weren't doing anything at all. It was all patriarchy.
You don't feel that globally men have the better end of the stick?
No. Well, no, I don't believe that globally men have the better end of the stick. Like what? I don't understand why people would even begin to conceptualize the world that way. Better in what way?
Roles of power in businesses, politically, men pretty much rule the world, no?
Well, what about in warfare? What about in dangerous jobs? Who gets killed in war? Who fights in war? Men.
You have women who are soldiers in the army nowadays.
Now this is what is called cherry picking. It's when you pick the good things or the things that sides or supports your ideology, then you bring it up. Otherwise you don't care about it. If you see at the suicide rates, men are the ones who commit the most amount of suicides. If you see the people who are most depressed, it's men. The people who are most of the people who are in prison, men. Most of the people who are in some kind of mental instability condition, men. Most of the people who are at bad who have bad grades or doing bad in academics, men. Most of the people who are in poverty in the world, men. Most of the people who die in wars, men. Most of the people who are blamed for every single thing that is happening in society, men. Men suffers most. Men. Most of the people who have who do people keeps their expectations to most of the time? Men. Men are the ones who are suffering right now.
Yeah.
It's opening more and more.
Yeah. Well, no, we're not going to go down that. Is a woman soldier not
as good as a man soldier?
I don't know whether a woman soldier is as good as a man soldier. I know that in most armed forces, women aren't placed in high combat frontline positions.
Who is responsible for this, the demasculization of the society?
Feminist groups have a fair bit to do with it, and the radical left types that insist that what we live in is a patriarchal tyranny.
What is the issue with feminists nowadays?
They think that the idea that our culture is a tyrannical patriarchy is an axiomatic truth. Well, I think that's complete nonsense. The insistence that sex, gender identity, and gender expression are social constructions, the insistence upon that, the insistence that if there are any differences in outcome, that's a consequence of oppression. That's what's up with them. All of that's complete bloody nonsense.
You have the feeling that feminism has gone too far?
Far too far. But it's the leftist it's not so much feminism, it's really the ideology that characterizes the radical left. Feminism is part of that.
even though there were still huge inequalities.
What inequalities are we talking about precisely?
Talking about wages, access
The
to
wage
positions
gap
of
has
power.
nothing to do. The wage gap has nothing to do with prejudice, or virtually nothing to do with it. Single men and women in their 20s. In fact, there's a wage advantage for single women in their 20s. So if there's any gap at all with regards to wages, it's a gap between people and mothers.
Most of the data in all of the countries, come up to that conclusion that a woman who has the same position as a man.
Women and men who do the same job, the women end up getting paid less?
Yes.
And you control for everything else? No, sorry, the data's wrong. There's at least 16 reasons why men get paid more than women. Men work longer hours. If you work 10% longer hours, you make 40% more money. Okay, men work in more dangerous positions. So there's a wage advantage for working in more dangerous positions. Men are more likely to move as a consequence of being required to by their job. So men are, there's more.
I understand what you're saying. You're saying that there were many different points that explain why we come up to that final statistic, but that if you look at the reasons why, then it's because men work longer, because they move more than women, and they
work in more dangerous positions. They're more likely to work outside.
I'll take you on that.
They're more likely to work in STEM fields. They're more likely to work in fields where you can scale. If you look and you say, well, on average, women make less money than men, which is also different than saying that they make less for doing the same work, because those aren't the same claims, then you have to say, well, what are the reasons that are contributing to that? You can't just say, well, it's a consequence of gender discrimination, unless you can only think about one thing at a time. And I would say that's another problem with the modern feminists, is they can only think about one thing at a time.
Yeah, well, I don't think that that's true. I think that they just don't want to think about one thing at one time. What they want to do is, they don't want to take responsibility, right? When you say that, okay, I have to work hard and I have to make sure that I do as much work as my male colleague and then get the same amount of money, that's hard, man. Not everybody could do that, but there's another way. You could just say, oh, I'm a woman, and then you could get the same amount of money just because you're a woman and get this privilege. And people do get that in a lot of places. They just get money because they are a specific gender and the male has to work a lot, and that's bad. And for the ones who don't work hard and who doesn't get, who gets what they're worth, they complain about not getting equal to a man when they work almost as half as the man. I don't know how that makes sense, but they don't take responsibility for the work, they don't work hard, and then they complain that, okay, I'm not getting paid. I know there are some places where it's real discrimination, where people really pay women the less because she's a woman. I agree with that. That's bad, and those companies should be banned, whatever. But they should be fined. It should go through law, whatever. But not every single person or every single company in 2024 does that, and most of the time they really prefer women over men, to be honest, if the woman works good. But if they don't work good, it's not the company's problem. They are there to do business, and if they earn money, which is because of men, if they work hard, the company will get progress forward and they will earn money. Then they will keep the men and pay more. It's just about how much work you put in or how much money you bring in. It's ROI, return on investment. It's not about what your gender is. Nobody cares about your gender in 2024. There are already so many in Western countries.
You said in an interview that to stop harassment in the workplace, a good start would be women stopping wearing lipstick.
No, I didn't say that.
My question is, you were talking about sexual harassment in the workplace.
Yeah.
And you said that one of the issues maybe was women wearing lipstick, because why do they do that? It's to create sexual arousal.
It wasn't an issue with regards to enticement to sexual harassment. It was an issue to what are the rules governing male and female behavior in the workplace. And if makeup is a sexual signal, then why should it be acceptable in the workplace? Well, what the hell do you think makeup is for? Why do women wear red lipstick? Just out of curiosity. Why do they rouge their cheeks?
Because
Why
they
red?
want to feel beautiful?
Look, I mean, the ideas that I'm putting forward here with regards to makeup aren't contentious. This has been studied. We know perfectly well what sexual signaling does, why people wear makeup, why women wear makeup.
When you say these kind of things, a woman may think that, oh, then I might be responsible for what this guy at the office said to me because, yeah, I was wearing makeup. So then I'm the one to be blamed.
That wasn't the point I was making.
No, but do you understand that for a woman watching this and who is a victim of sexual harassment in the workplace,
I don't care about that.
You don't care about what she may feel after she
No,
hears you?
I don't care. I really don't care particularly what people feel about facts. What are the rules exactly governing the behavior of men and women in the workplace? NBC, no hugging. Okay, that's a rule now. Okay, how about no sexual displays in the workplace? None. How about that for a rule? Now, I'm not saying that that's a rule that we should adopt, but I am saying that if we're going to have a culture-wide conversation about the difficulties of men and women working together, then we better bloody well make sure that we get the rules straight. Now, when the Maoists took over China, they had men and women wear the same uniform, no makeup, same haircuts. Why? To eliminate all of that. I didn't say that if a woman wears makeup, that's any excuse for a man to harass her. I just said that if she's wearing makeup, that's sexual signaling, and that is what it is.
My vision of it is that, in a way, it puts the blame on women and it gives the guys a free pass.
Well, you can interpret it that way if you want, but that isn't how I see it. And that's also not what I'm implying. And I think that it's appalling that women are treated badly in the workplace by like unsophisticated men who have no idea how to govern their impulses.
In a video, you said that the problem with those angry women is that since at the end of the argument you cannot fight physically, you can't really deal with them.
That's not what I said. I said that that's one of the things that keeps conversation between men civil. Women can't argue with angry women. Women are often bullied by angry women.
What I meant was more, you said that, and I'm really like not trying to paraphrase you or to put words into your mouth.
You are trying that directly.
No, it is things that you said that you cannot deal with those.
Yes, but don't tell me that you're not trying to put words into my mouth because you selected what you're going to ask, and you selected it very carefully with a tremendous amount of forethought.
Well,
and there's a purpose for that. What is the purpose precisely?
I am quoting things that you said.
Why? What is it that you're trying to establish?
Because you said that.
I thought we were talking about masculinity.
We are.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
How are we talking about masculinity?
Because I'm asking you what you think of men and of women.
Basically what you've been trying to do, I would say for the last 15 minutes, is put me into a sequence of corners by accusing me of various forms of misbehavior.
Well, this is called strawman fallacy. It's when someone who's having an opposing view of yours, what they do is that they present your argument to you. And what they do is that your argument, might say a kid and a girl. They might say that you said the kid killed the girl. And if you agree with it, they get the, that gotcha movement. And like, oh, he said that. Oh, he agreed to it. And they're presenting your argument to you, but by, changing the words and misleading it. And then when people hear it, they're like, oh, he really said that and now he's agreeing to it. That means he must have said that. And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to say the same thing that Dr. John Peterson said before in some interview, but now he's trying to, change the words and trying to make it, sound like it was something really bad. And that's why Dr. John Peterson is saying that you're trying to put words in my mouth, because he's changing the things that he said. And a lot of people says, that's what the job of journalist is. That's what they should do. It's not that. The job of journalist is to get, the information out, the truth, not to, start blaming someone of something that they haven't done, or start saying false things, or start saying random sentences that no one never spoke. It's different. Okay,
so why are we doing that? What's the point here?
These are things that you said. My job as a journalist is to ask questions about what you represent and the ideas that you defend.
Your job is also to select the things that you might ask about in some manner that doesn't indicate a substantive bias. You picked 3 things to talk to me about in the last 20 minutes that were very carefully selected. Like, why did you pick those things?
Because this is my job.
No, not necessarily. You could be asking me, for example, why I've spoken to 250,000 people live in the last 8 months. That might be more newsworthy.
Well, we're not going to have a big debate about journalism, but if a journalist doesn't ask the tough questions, how can you give the good answers?
But it depends on what the tough questions are. It depends on
I didn't think that they would be tough. We're talking about things that you said. I mean, if it's easier to have conversation between men because there is this underlying threat, of a physical contact.
I don't think it's easier. It tends to be somewhat more civil.
So fighting is the ultimate way of resolving the conflict?
It's a good question. It's a good question. The ultimate way of resolving a conflict is to negotiate for peace, if you can manage it. But if you can't negotiate for peace, then what are the alternatives?
How do you explain so many men, so many young men follow you, listen to you?
Because they need encouragement. And they need a reason for growing up. And I encourage them and give them a reason to grow up.
What are you?
It's better to grow up than to stay immature.
Are you a father figure?
Sometimes.
A prophet in a way, a guru?
I don't believe that I'm a guru. I don't think that you can be a guru and tell people to take their own way. You know, I'm asking people to develop a vision for their own lives and to adopt the responsibility for that, but it has to be something that's personal.
But do you feel responsibility then?
Yes, absolutely. Fundamentally, this is supposed to be helpful to people.
What if I told you that you're playing on young men's distress to make all that money?
That accusation has been leveled at me before. I don't know how I'm playing on their distress, exploiting it or helping it.
The fact
Look,
is,
I've
a lot
said
of
right from the
people-
beginning that I'm an evil capitalist. I don't make any bones about it. I'm not ashamed of making money. It's very hard to make money.
Can I ask you bluntly how much you make?
I make $80,000 a month on Patreon. My book is selling about 20,000 copies a week. I have royalties that probably amount to something approximating $1.50 on each of those. The tours garner about $35,000 to $50,000 an evening. I have a business that's generating, I don't know, something in the neighborhood of $200,000 a month for me personally. There's some other smaller sources of income than that.
Then you are making a lot of money
Yes,
out of this.
I certainly am. And so are a lot of other people.
Right. I don't see any point in this interview. I don't see any substance. You know, the whole interview, he just tried to somehow corner Jordan Peterson into saying something that will make this interview popular, and he failed miserably to do so. He didn't got anything out, and I don't know, he just kept blaming Jordan Peterson about something. And as I told you, there's three things he used. First, strawman fallacy, where you, as I already told you, that you represent someone else's argument to themselves, but you just change the words so that they don't understand, and if they agreed, they will get caught in the trap. And some other two things too. Well, this was it for the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care everyone, and bye bye.